Hello children, how are you all? I hope everyone are safe and sound. This is Mrs. Grace Viola taking English Literature class 7. So, in this video we'll learn the poem The Naming of Cats by T.S. Eliot. First, let's know about the author. Thomas Stern Eliot from 1888 to 1965 was born in St. Louis, Missouri, USA. He was a poet, a playwright and literary critic. His writings was usually very complex and his long poems had many references to historical and mythological people and incidents. However, he also wrote many humorous poems about cats in a book called Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats. These poems were put to music by Andrew Lloyd Webber to create a musical Cats which became a hit in the West End of London and on Broadway in New York. So he is Mr. T.S. Eliot. Words to know: Admetus, Electra, Demeter. These are the names of Greek mythological characters. Cherish, to hold dear, to treat with affection. Contemplation, thoughtful observation or study. Dignified, worthy of respect. Affable, capable of being expressed in words. Ineffable, it's a made up word. And everyday dames, ordinary woman. Ineffable, incapable of being expressed. Inscrutable, difficult to understand. Mad as a hatter, crazy. Peculiar, odd, strange. Perpendicular, being at right angle to the horizontal, straight up in the air. Plato is the Greek philosopher, profound, deep beyond what is obvious. Quorum, a select group. Rapt, deeply absorbed. Now first let's recite the poem The Naming of Cats by T.S. Eliot. The naming of cats is a difficult matter. It isn't just one of your holiday games. You may think at first I am as mad as Hatter when I tell you a cat must have 3 different names. First of all, there's a name that the family use daily, such as Peter, Augustus, Alonzo, or James, such as Victor or Jonathan, George or Billy Bailey. All of them sensible everyday names. There are fancier names if you think they sound sweeter. Some for the gentlemen, some for the dames, such as Plato, Admetus, Electra, Demeter, but all of them sensible everyday names. But I tell you, a cat needs a name that's particular, a name that's peculiar and more dignified. Else, how can he keep up his tail perpendicular, or spread out his whisker, or cherish his pride? Of names of this kind, I can give you a quorum, such as Mungerstrap, Coxo, or Coricopat, such as Pombalurino or else Jellilarum. Names that never belong to more than one cat, but above and beyond, there's still one name left over, and that is the name that you will never guess. The name that no human research can discover, but the cat himself knows and will never confess. When you notice a cat in profound meditation, the reason I tell you is always the same. His mind is engaged in a rapt contemplation of the thoughts, of the thought, of the thought of his name. His ineffable, ineffable, deep and inscrutable singular name. So this is the poem written by T.S. Eliot. So in this poem we see that the poet is talking about the naming of cats. Yes, the 3 different names. Here that naming of cats explores the way in which cats acquire their names. Okay, so they acquire names, a particular name, and the first one, so 3 names. So the first one is very common name used by the family members. So here we see, first of all, there's a name that the family use daily. So this is the name that is used by family members, the first name. And the second name, which is for social life, like Plato, Admetus, Electra, Demeter. These are very famous characters of Greek mythological characters, and these are very famous. So for social life, they need one more name, and in the final name when we see is the name that only the cat knows. Yes, only the cat knows. Here we see in the final lines, like the name that no human research can discover, but the cat himself knows and will never confess. When you notice a cat in profound meditation, the reason I tell you is always the same. His mind is engaged in a rapt contemplation of the thought, of the thought, of the thought of his name. So this cat is thinking of his name, his personal self, the cat's personal self. So here, if we see that the cat, actually, if we put ourselves in this poem, okay, ourselves in this poem, every human being has three names: one for the family, one for the social, and one for ourselves that we never reveal to others. It will be for ourself. So what we are from inside, only we know. So in the same way, here also it says, okay, the cat himself knows. So this is what the poem is all about. It's talking about the names that the three names that everyone has: one for family, one for social life, and one for one's self, personal self, that only ourself knows about that name. So now, children, you all recite the poem and understand it. There are many, like it's the rhyme scheme, the rhymes in the poem that the poet used, uh, like daily, Bailey, sweeter, Demeter, like this. Okay, and recite the poem, learn the poem, understand it, and thank you, boys.